This bark was sharp, angry, desperate, like a warning that was growing teeth. Adaora stopped walking, her work bag slid down her shoulder, and she held it back with her elbow because her hand suddenly felt weak. The morning air in Umuokoro village was cool, but her skin was hot. The sun was still rising, and the road was still sleepy. Just a few women heading to the stream, one man pushing a wheelbarrow, a boy dragging a stubborn goat. But that dog, it stood in front of the abandoned mud house, the one nobody entered anymore, the one people avoided, the one the children were warned about, as if the house could bite. The dog continued barking and sometimes jumped as if trying to call people to come and see what he was seeing. Its ears were up like two sharp leaves. Its eyes were not playful, not at all. It barked at the house again and again. Adora swallowed. She had heard the dog for 3 days now, every morning. Same spot, same direction, same madness. The villagers had talked about it like it was a joke at first. Maybe it saw a snake. One woman had laughed yesterday while selling a kara near the junction. Maybe a spirit is inside, an old man had said, half serious, half enjoying the fear he was spreading. Dog just like noise, a youth had said, waving his hand like it did not matter. But Adara could not wave this away, not today, because today the bark sounded different. It was not only loud, it sounded like the dog was begging people to listen. Adara looked left, looked right. Nobody was stopping. People heard it, yes, but they just kept moving. Some even covered their ears and hurried past. Adara took one slow step toward the mud house. The dog turned its head toward her. For 1 second it stopped barking, and that silence, small, sudden and strange, made Adara's heart jump. "Hey," Adara said softly, not sure if she was talking to the dog or to herself. The dog stared. Then it barked once, a single bark, hard, like, "Come." Adaora's mouth went dry. She should go to work. She worked in a small printing shop in town, and her boss, Mr. Onyedika, did not like late workers. He had a small bell on his table, and when you entered late, he would ring it and shake his head like a disappointed teacher. But Adaora's feet did not move away. They moved closer. The abandoned mud house sat a few steps off the road. The walls were brown and cracked. The roof had missing zinc sheets. A corner of the building looked like it had sunk into the ground, tired and forgotten. Bushes grew around it like guarding hands. Adara remembered stories about it. People said an old woman once lived there long ago. People said she died alone. People said things happened at night, small lights, strange shadows, sounds like someone dragging chains. Adara did not like those stories. She always told herself they were, just village fear stories made to keep children obedient. Still, her body did not fully believe her. The dog barked again, and the sound pulled her forward like a rope. Adayora took another step, then another. Her sandals pressed dry sand. Her nose caught the smell of dust and old leaves. She felt a thin sweat on her upper lip. "Why are you shouting like this?" she whispered. The dog did not answer, of course. It just barked at the house again, its front legs stiff, its tail low, its entire body pointing like an arrow. Adara's eyes moved over the house. The small front window had no glass, only empty space with broken wood around it. The doorway had a door, but it looked swollen and stuck, like it had not opened in years. Adaora's heart beat fast. She was about to turn away. Then she heard something else. Not barking, not wind, not bird sound. It was a faint sound. So faint she thought it came from her own head. Adaora froze. The dog barked again, and the sound covered it. But when the bark ended, the faint sound returned. It was like a breath. A soft, broken breath. Adaora stepped nearer to the window. She bent her head slightly, listening. Her throat tightened. "No, no, this is not... Is someone... inside?" Adaora leaned closer, slowly, like if she moved too fast, the sound would disappear. She put her ear near the window opening. The mud wall felt cool against the side of her face. She held her breath, and then a whisper, so weak it almost fell apart. "Help. Me." Adaora's eyes widened. Her hand flew to her mouth, covering it hard because a scream tried to escape her, and she swallowed it back like a hot stone. She listened again. "Please," the whisper came, shaky and thin. "Help." Adaora's knees trembled. A person was inside, a living person, not a spirit story, not village gossip, not imagination, a human voice, a woman's voice. Adaora pulled back from the window, breathing fast. Her mind ran wild. Is it a trap? Is it robbers? Is someone trying to trick me? But the voice had sounded real, painful, like someone who had been crying until even tears refused to come out again. And the dog. The dog had not moved from this house for 3 days. Adaora's mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out at first. Her tongue felt too heavy. Her chest felt too full. Then she found her voice. "Somebody is inside," she shouted. Her voice cracked. "Somebody is inside the house." She shouted again, louder, and this time her voice carried down the road like a stone thrown into water. "Help, please, people come. Somebody is inside." A woman carrying a basin stopped and stared. A man pushing a wheelbarrow slowed down. A teenage boy who had been walking with friends paused and looked toward the house, with wide eyes. The dog barked harder now, like it was happy Adaora finally understood. In seconds, more people appeared. Like the road had been hiding them. Some came from their compounds, some came from the market direction, some ran barefoot, dust flying behind them. "What is it?" one woman asked, her voice tight. "Adaora, are you okay?" another person shouted. Adaora pointed with shaking fingers. "I heard a voice," she said, speaking too fast. "A woman, she is inside. The dog has been barking because she is inside," the crowd murmured. Fear spread quickly, jumping from face to face. "Inside this house?" a man asked, as if the house itself was insulting him. "That place is empty," someone argued. "Nobody enters there." Adaora shook her head hard. I heard her with my own ears." The dog barked again, almost like, "Yes, yes." A tall young man pushed forward. He wore a faded black t-shirt and slippers. His shoulders were broad, his face looked serious, like he did not smile often. "Move," he said. "Move, everyone." People stepped aside. "That is Chaik," someone whispered. "The youth leader." Chaka walked up to the door. He tried the handle. It did not move. He pulled harder. Still nothing. "Door is stuck," he said, and his jaw tightened. A nervous laugh came from somewhere in the crowd, one of those laughs people make when they are afraid but pretending they are not. Cheek stepped back. "Give me space," he warned. Adaora's heart was loud in her ears. She watched him lift his leg. He kicked the door. The sound was heavy, gibam, like a drum hit too hard. Dust fell from the top of the doorway. The door did not open. Chike kicked again. Gibam! The wood groaned, like it was waking up angry. The third kick was the strongest. Gibam! The door burst inward. The crowd gasped as one, like they shared one mouth. A dark smell poured out. Stale air, dust, something sour. Adaora stepped forward without meaning to, and then she saw it. A shape on the floor. A person, a woman, thin, dirty, tied up like someone had wrapped her life into knots. Her hands were bound, her legs were bound. A cloth gag sat in her mouth, but it had slipped loose, hanging to one side, soaked and dark. Her hair was rough and tangled. Her lips looked dry and cracked. Her eyes were half open, rolling slowly like they could not hold focus. For a second, nobody moved. Even the dog stopped barking. Then the woman's lips moved. A sound came out, weak, almost swallowed by the air. "Please." Adaora felt tears jump into her eyes so suddenly it surprised her. The woman tried to lift her head. It fell back down. "I am," she breathed. The crowd surged closer. "Jesus!" someone cried. "Ah!" another person shouted, covering their eyes. Cheek rushed in first, kneeling. "Bring knife," he shouted. "Bring something to cut rope." Someone ran. Adaora entered the doorway slowly, her legs stiff like wood. The inside of the house was dim. A small crack in the roof let in a thin line of light. Dust floated in that light like tiny ghosts. But this was not ghost work. This was human wickedness. The woman's eyes found Adaora's face. Her gaze was cloudy, but it held something sharp, fear mixed with hope. She forced words out, one by one, as if speaking was climbing a hill. "Help. Me." Then she swallowed, and her voice broke like a dry stick. "I am the only child of my father." Her eyes closed, her head fell to the side. "Adaora," someone shouted from outside, but the voice sounded far away. Adaora's hands were shaking. She did not know what to do. She wanted to touch the woman, to hold her, to lift her, to promise her she was safe. But she was afraid of hurting her, afraid of doing the wrong thing. Chaik pressed 2 fingers to the woman's neck. "She is alive," he said, but his voice sounded different now, less brave, more urgent. "She is alive, but very weak." A man returned with a cutlass. Chaik took it carefully, turning it so the sharp side faced away. He began cutting the ropes. The ropes did not want to let go easily. They were tight, like the person who tied them wanted pain to be part of the knot. As Chaik cut, the woman's body flinched once, like even sleep could not protect her from hurt. Adaora's throat burned. She turned and shouted toward the crowd, her voice sharp and desperate. "Call the clinic. Call Nurse Amaka. Somebody, please." People moved fast now. Fear had changed into action. Someone ran toward the village clinic. Someone else shouted for water. A woman pulled off her wrapper and rushed it forward to cover the girl's legs. The dog stood at the doorway. It did not enter. It just watched. Its eyes were fixed on the woman, and the dog's body looked like it was holding its own breath. Adaora looked at the dog, and for the first time she noticed something. The dog's mouth had foam around it. Not from sickness, from stress, from barking too much. 3 days of barking, 3 days of warning everyone, 3 days of nobody listening. Adaora felt a tight pain in her chest. "I heard you," she whispered to it, like an apology. "I heard you today." The dog blinked once, then it let out a single low sound. Not a bark, not a growl, almost like a tired whimper. Chaik and 2 other men lifted the woman carefully, like she was made of glass. As they carried her out into the open air, the crowd parted quickly. The sun hit her face, and her skin looked ash-like with dust. She was young, maybe in her early 20s. Her eyelids fluttered weakly. Adaora walked. Beside them, her work bag forgotten on the ground behind her. "Adaora," someone said, pulling her arm gently. "Are you the one who heard her voice?" Adaora nodded without looking. "Yes," she whispered, "I heard her." The person shook their head slowly, as if their mind refused to accept it. "This world," the person muttered. "This world is not safe." A small boy began to cry. "Is she dead?" he asked. "No," Adaora said quickly, almost too loud. "She is not dead. She is alive." She said it like she was trying to convince herself too. The clinic worker arrived, panting. "Bring her to the clinic now," the worker shouted. They moved fast. As they carried the woman toward the clinic, Adaora looked back once. The abandoned mud house sat quietly again, pretending it did nothing. And the dog? The dog stayed behind. It walked back to its spot in front of the house and sat down, like a guard that refused to leave a crime scene. Adaora's stomach turned. Why would the dog stay? Why not follow? Unless it was still afraid. Unless it believed the danger was not over. Adaora hugged her arms to her chest, her body trembling. Then a thought struck her, sudden and cold. Who put her there? And the second thought came even colder. What if that person is watching right now? Adaora looked around the bushes near the house, the tall grass, the small trees. The air felt still, too still. Then she saw something that made her blood freeze. A fresh footprint in the sand near the back corner of the house. Not old, not washed away, not covered with dust. Fresh. Like someone had been there recently, like someone had stood there this morning, and left only seconds before the crowd arrived. Adaora's breath caught. Her eyes followed the footprint trail slowly until it disappeared into the bushes. And deep inside those bushes, something shifted. A branch moved, just a little, like someone had pulled it aside to look. Adaora did not scream. She could not. Her voice was trapped in her throat. But her mind screamed one sentence again and again. We are not alone. And right then, right behind the bushes, Adaora heard a sound. A low, quiet laugh. Not loud enough for the crowd, only loud enough for her. Adaora's knees almost gave out, because whoever dumped that girl in the mud house was close. And they were not done. Adaora did not remember picking up her work bag. She did not remember locking her door that morning. What she remembered, clearly, painfully, was the way the woman's body felt when the men lifted her. Too light, like someone who had been slowly disappearing. The clinic in Umukoro was small. 2 rooms, 1 rusty bed, 1 cabinet that always smelled of spirit and old medicine. Nurse Amaka's face tightened the moment she saw the girl. How long? She asked sharply. 3 days, Chike replied. Maybe more. No food, no water. Nurse Amaka sucked in air through her teeth. God help us. They laid the girl on the bed. Her chest rose and fell, but slowly, too slowly for comfort. Adaora stood by the wall, hands pressed together so tightly her fingers hurt. She felt useless. She hated that feeling. Nurse Amaka cleaned the girl's mouth, poured drops of water between her lips, and checked her eyes. She is dehydrated, she said, severely. We can try here, but she needs a better hospital. Port Harcourt, Chike said immediately. That is where the specialists are. Nurse Amaka nodded. Yes, that is the only chance. Someone ran to bring the clinic's ambulance. Calling it an ambulance was generous. It was old, white paint peeling. Siren that worked only when it wanted to. But it was all they had. As they moved the girl onto the stretcher, her eyes opened again, just a little. Her gaze moved across faces, fearful villagers, worried nurse, serious men, until it stopped on Adaora. Her lips moved. Adaora leaned closer. The girl whispered, her voice dry like paper rubbing together. My name, Chidera. Adaora swallowed. You are safe now, she said softly, though her heart was not fully sure. We found you. Chidera's fingers twitched. They brushed Adaora's wrist weakly, like she wanted to hold on to something real. Thank you, Chidera breathed. Then her eyes rolled back. The siren finally screamed to life. As the ambulance drove away, dust followed it like a tail. Some villagers waved, some prayed aloud, some just stood in silence. Adaora watched until the vehicle disappeared around the bend. Only then did her legs begin to shake. She sat on the ground without caring who saw her. The dog was still there. It sat near the abandoned house, head high, eyes alert. It did not chase the ambulance. It did not move at all. Adaora looked at it again, and again noticed something strange. The dog was not tired anymore. It looked calm, like it had done what it came to do, like it was waiting for something else now. Adaora, a woman called gently, you should go home. Adaora nodded slowly, but she did not move. Her eyes were fixed on the bushes behind the mud house. She remembered the footprint, the laugh, the movement. Her stomach twisted. Cheek, she said suddenly. The youth leader turned. Yes? Someone was there, Adaora said. Her voice sounded small but steady. Near the back of the house, this morning. Cheek frowned. Are you sure? Adaora nodded. I saw fresh footprints, and I heard a sound, a laugh. The murmuring started again. Lies. No, she wouldn't lie. Who would do such a thing? Chike raised his hand to calm them. Everyone go home, he said firmly. This matter has passed the village level. The police will handle it. Adaora did not argue, but inside her chest, fear sat heavy and stubborn. The road to Port Harcourt was long. Inside the ambulance, Nurse Amaka held the IV drip steady while the driver avoided potholes like landmines. Chidera lay still, too still. Her skin was pale under the clinic lights, her breathing shallow. Nurse Amaka spoke softly to her, even when Chidera did not respond. You are strong, she said. Hold on. Chidera's fingers moved once, then again. 2 days later. Adaora stood at the gate of the specialist hospital in Port Harcourt, unsure why she was there. She had gone back to work the day after the rescue. Her boss had listened quietly as she explained, then surprised her by saying nothing. No bell, no shaking head. But her mind was not at work. It stayed in that mud house. It stayed with the girl's voice. So when Nurse Amaka called her that morning and said she woke up, she asked about you. Adeora's legs carried her here without debate. The hospital smelled different from the clinic. Cleaner, sharper, like hope mixed with fear. Nurse Amaka met her near the ward. She is stable, she said. Doctors say she will fully recover. Adaora closed her eyes briefly. Relief rushed through her like water. They entered the room. Chidera was sitting up. She looked different already, cleaner, less fragile, but her eyes still carried shadows, deep ones. When she saw Adaora, her face changed. She smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. You came, Chidera said. Adaora nodded. Of course. Chidera reached for a phone on the bedside table. I need to call my father, she said quietly. Adaora did not ask questions. Chidera dialed a number from memory. Her hand shook. Daddy, she said when the call connected. There was silence on the line. Then Chidera's face crumpled. I am alive, she said, tears rolling freely now. I am in Port Harcourt. They found me. Her shoulders shook. Yes. Yes. I will explain. She looked at Adaora. Someone saved me, she said into the phone. A woman named Adaora. Adaora felt heat rush to her face. The call ended. Chidera wiped her tears. My father is coming, she said. He will be here today. Chief Obiora arrived like a storm, 2 black SUVs, men in suits, quiet power filling the hospital hallway. Adaora stepped back instinctively, then she saw him. Tall, broad, grey hair at the sides, eyes sharp but broken at the edges. The moment he saw Chidera, he stopped being a powerful man. He became just a father. He rushed forward and pulled her into his arms. I have looked for you everywhere, he said, his voice breaking. Everywhere. Chidera held him tightly. I know, she whispered. After a moment she turned. Dad, she said, pointing. That is her. Adaora. Chief Obiora looked at Adaora. Really looked. He walked toward her and held her hand firmly. Thank you, he said. I do not know how to repay you. Adaora shook her head. I just listened, she said honestly. The dog led me. Chief Obiora frowned. Dog? Chidera nodded. A dog barked at the house for days. She followed it. Chief Obiora's expression changed. Surprise, then something deeper. Life speaks, he said quietly. Most people do not listen. Later, when the room was quieter, Chidera spoke. Her voice was steadier now, but the pain in it had not left. Jidena, she said. Adaora's heart tightened. He is the son of my father's business rival, Chidera continued. He had been asking me out for months. I refused, she paused. He did not accept it. Chief Obiora's jaw clenched. He arranged men, Chidera said. They took me at night, tied me, covered my mouth, dumped me in that house. Her hands trembled. No food, she whispered. No water, just darkness. Adaora felt tears rise again. Chief Obiora stood up suddenly. I will call the police, he said, immediately. 1 month later, Jidena was arrested. He was brought with his father to Chief Obiora's mansion. Adaora was there that day. She did not know why. Maybe fate wanted witnesses. Jidena knelt. His father knelt beside him. The police stood by. I am sorry, Jidena said, his voice shaking. I lost my mind. Chidera stood quietly. She looked older somehow, stronger. I forgive you, she said after a long pause. The room went silent. Chief Obiora looked at her sharply. Chidera met his eyes. Forgiveness is not weakness, she said. It is freedom. The fathers looked at each other, rivals no more. Later, Chief Obiora turned to Adaora. I want you to work with me, he said, assistant general manager. Adaora was shocked. She accepted, but she asked for one thing. The dog, she said. He is a stray. Please take him in. Chief Obiora smiled. The next day they returned to the village. The dog was still there, sitting, waiting. But as they approached, the dog stood and growled. Low, warning. Adaora froze, because behind the mud house, The bushes moved again. The growl was not loud, it was low, slow, controlled. The kind of growl that says, "I warned you once." Adaora stopped walking. So did Chief Obiora's guards. The vet doctor froze with the cage halfway open. Everyone's eyes went to the dog. Its body was stiff now. Fur along its back stood up like sharp grass. Its head was turned, not toward the people, not toward the road, but toward the back of the abandoned mud house. The same place. Again. Adaora felt a chill slide down her spine. "It's the same spot," she whispered. Chief Obiora followed her gaze. "What spot?" "The back," she said. "That's where I saw footprints the day we rescued Chidera." The guards exchanged looks. One of them adjusted his jacket slowly. "Sir," the guard said, "we should check it." Chief Obiora nodded once, carefully. The dog barked, one short bark, then stepped forward 2 paces and stopped. Like a guide, they moved slowly around the house. The mud walls blocked the view, forcing them to walk close together. The air smelled damp, like old rain trapped in soil. Adaora's heart pounded so hard she could hear it. Please let it be nothing, she thought. They reached the back. At first it looked normal. Bushes, tall grass, dry leaves. Then the dog barked again, sharp, urgent. Adaora's eyes dropped to the ground. There. The grass was pressed down. Not old, fresh. Something or someone had been there recently. One of the guards crouched and pushed aside leaves with his shoe. "What is that?" the vet doctor whispered. "A piece of black cloth. Half buried." Chief Obiora's face darkened. "Bring it out." The guard pulled the cloth free. It was a hood, the kind used to cover someone's head. Adaora's breath caught. Her stomach twisted. "This is not finished," she whispered. The dog growled again, louder now, stepping closer to the bushes. Then a sound. A crack. A branch snapping. "Stop!" one guard shouted. Too late. Someone ran. Fast. The bushes exploded with movement as a figure broke through, sprinting toward the far path that led into the forest. "After him!" Chief Obiora shouted. 2 guards. Chased instantly. Adaora stood frozen, watching dust rise behind the running figure. The dog lunged forward, barking wildly, but the leash held. "Let him go!" Adaora shouted. The vet doctor hesitated. "Let him go," she repeated. The leash was released. The dog shot forward like an arrow. Its legs moved with pure instinct. No fear, no doubt. Adiora's chest tightened as she watched it disappear into the bushes. Seconds passed, long ones, too long. Then, a scream. Not loud, not long, cut short. The guards' voices followed, shouting orders. Adaora's hands trembled. "Please be alive. Please don't let this be another body." The dog barked again, then silence. Chief Obiora's jaw was tight. "We wait," he said. "They'll bring him." And they did. The guards emerged first, dragging a young man between them. The dog followed behind, teeth bared, eyes burning. The man's shirt was torn, his face scratched. Fear poured off him like sweat. When Adaora saw him clearly, her breath stopped. She knew him. Everyone did. "Emeka," someone whispered. Emeka, the village motorbike rider. The quiet one, the one who never caused trouble. The one who smiled politely and kept to himself. Adaora stared at him, her mind refusing the picture. "No," she whispered, "it can't be him." Emeka fell to his knees. "I didn't mean to," he cried. "I swear, I didn't mean for her to die." The words hit like a slap. Adaora staggered back. "Die?" she repeated. "Who died?" Emeka's eyes widened. He clamped his mouth shut. Too late. Chief Obiora stepped forward slowly. "Talk," he said. His voice was calm, but there was danger inside it. "Who died?" Emeka shook his head violently. I didn't say anything." One guard grabbed Emeka's collar. "You said die," the guard snapped. "Who were you talking about?" Emeka broke. Tears poured down his face. "The other girl," he sobbed. "The one before." Adaora's ears rang. "Other girl," she whispered. Chief Obiora's face went pale. "How many?" he asked quietly. Emeka covered his face. "2. It was 2. The village seemed to tilt. Adaora felt like the ground was moving under her feet. There was another girl, Emeka continued, words spilling out fast now. Before Chidera, they told me it was just a scare job. Just keep her quiet for one night. Who told you? Chief Obiora demanded. Jidena's boys, Emeka cried. They paid me to watch the house, to make sure nobody came near. Adeora's chest tightened painfully. You heard her, she said slowly. Didn't you? Emeka nodded, sobbing harder. Yes. You heard her crying, Adaora said, voice shaking, and you stayed. Emeka collapsed forward. I was scared. Silence fell. Even the dog stopped barking. What about the first girl? Chief Obiora asked. Emeka swallowed. She didn't wake up. Adaora felt tears spill over. The dog walked up to Emeka and sniffed him once, then turned away, like it was done with him. The police were called immediately. This time there was no forgiveness talk, no quiet handling. Sirens came, statements were taken. Emeka was dragged away, screaming apologies no one wanted to hear. The abandoned mud house was sealed off. Red tape fluttered in the wind like wounded flags. That night, Adaora could not sleep. She lay on the guest bed in Chief Obiora's mansion, staring at the ceiling. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Chidera's face, then another face, one she did not know. Another girl, another voice that nobody listened to. Her chest hurt. What if I didn't stop that morning? What if I walked past like everyone else? The thought made her sick. A soft sound came from the corridor. Adaora sat up. The dog stood there, quiet, watching her. You saved her, Adaora whispered. The dog tilted its head. You tried to save both, she added. The dog walked closer and lay down near the door, like a guard again. Adaora wiped her face. This story teaches something, she murmured to herself, that warnings don't always come in human voices. The thought stayed with her. 2 days later, Chidera was discharged. She walked slowly, but she walked. Her father held her hand. Adaora stood beside them. The dog wagged its tail when it saw Chidera. Chidera bent down carefully and rubbed its head. Thank you, she whispered to it. The dog licked her fingers. For the first time since Adaora met it, the dog looked happy. But peace did not last. As they stepped outside, a police officer approached Chief Obiora. Sir, he said quietly, there's something you should know. Chief Obiora frowned. What is it? The investigation shows Jidena didn't plan this alone. Adaora felt a familiar cold crawl up her spine. There's someone higher, the officer continued, someone funding everything. Chidera stiffened. Who? She asked. The officer hesitated, then spoke. A man with power in Port Harcourt. Adaora's breath caught. Chief Obiora's eyes darkened. Name him, he said. The officer leaned closer and whispered the name. Adaora watched Chief Obiora's face change. Shock. Then anger. Then something colder, something dangerous. Prepare the car, Chief Obiora said. Chidera grabbed his arm. Daddy. He looked at her. This is not over, he said softly. Outside the gate, a black car waited. Inside it, someone watched the mansion. And smiled. The name did not leave Adaora's head. It followed her into the car. It sat with her in the silence. It pressed against her chest like a stone. Chief Obiora did not repeat it aloud. He did not need to. The way his hands tightened on the steering wheel said enough. Chidera sat in the back seat, quiet. Too quiet. The road out of the mansion curved gently, lined with trimmed hedges and tall palms, but nothing about the moment felt gentle. Daddy, Chidera said finally, her voice low. Do you know him? Chief Obiora nodded once. Yes. Adaora's stomach sank. From where? Chidera asked. From business, he replied. From courtrooms. From meetings where men smile and sharpen knives at the same time. Adaora felt a chill. She had seen powerful men before, men who spoke softly and ruined lives without raising their voices. Men who never touched the crime but owned it. So Jidena was not the head, Adaora said quietly. Chief Obiora glanced at her in the mirror. No, he was just the loud one. The car moved faster. Port Harcourt was busy as always. Horns, shouting, vendors pushing carts between cars, life happening loudly. unaware that something dark was moving quietly underneath it. They stopped at a private office building near GRA. "This is where he works," Chief Obiora said. Adaora looked up at the glass building. Clean, respectable, safe-looking. It made her angry. "How can someone like that hide here?" she asked. "Because people trust walls more than actions," Chief Obiora replied. They did not go inside. Instead, Chief Obiora made a call. Minutes later, a man came out. Mid-40s, neat suit, confident walk. When he saw Chief Obiora, his smile froze. "Obiora," the man said, forcing warmth. "What a surprise." Chief Obiora stepped closer. "You financed it," he said flatly. The man laughed, lightly. "Financed what?" "The kidnappings," Chief Obiora said. "The dumping, the silence." The smile fell. Adaora watched the man's eyes change. Not guilt, calculation. "You have no proof," the man said. Chidera stepped forward. "I was there," she said. "I heard your voice on the phone. You told them I would learn humility." The man's face hardened. "You should be careful," he said quietly. "Accusations can destroy families." Adaora felt her hands curl into fists. Chief Obiora leaned in. "So can truth." The man stepped back, scanning the street. "This conversation never happened," he said. "If you are wise." He turned and walked away. Adaora's heart raced. "That's it?" she asked. "We just let him go?" Chief Obiora shook his head. "No, we watch, and we wait." That night, Adaora dreamed of the abandoned house again, but this time the door was open. Inside, she heard barking. She woke up sweating. 2 days later, the dog began acting strange. It refused to eat. It paced. It barked at shadows. Adaora noticed first. "He knows," she said to Chidera. "Something is wrong." That evening, a black car passed the mansion slowly. Once, then again. The guards noticed. Chief Obiora noticed too. "Double the security," he ordered. Still, fear crept in quietly. The next morning, news broke. A young woman had gone missing. Different area, same pattern. Adaora's hands shook as she read the message on her phone. Chidera covered her mouth. "No," she whispered, "not again." Chief Obiora closed his eyes. "The network is still active," he said. "They didn't stop." Adaora felt anger rise like fire. "They think we will stay quiet," she said. "They think fear will win." The dog barked suddenly, loud, sharp. Everyone turned. It was staring at the gate. A delivery truck stood outside, too still. The driver did not wave, did not speak. The dog growled. Adaora's heart slammed. "Stop that truck!" she shouted. Guards moved instantly. The truck door opened, and a girl jumped out, crying, shaking, alive. She ran straight into the compound, collapsing on the ground. "They were taking me," she sobbed. "They said nobody listens anymore." Adaora dropped to her knees beside her. "But someone does," she whispered. Behind the truck, the driver tried to flee. He didn't make it far. As guards held him down, he screamed one name over and over. The same name. The powerful one. Adaora looked up at Chief Obiora. "This isn't finished," she said. Chief Obiora nodded slowly. "No," he replied. "Now it's exposed." Across the street, from behind tinted glass, someone watched the rescue. Their phone buzzed. A message appeared. "They are closer than you think." The watcher smiled and made another call. The girl would not stop shaking. Adaora wrapped her arms around her, feeling bones under skin, fear under breath. The girl smelled like dust and sweat and panic. She could not have been more than 18. "They said I should keep quiet," the girl sobbed. "They said nobody listens to girls like us." Adaora swallowed hard. "But someone did," Adaora said softly. "You ran. You screamed. And you are alive." The dog stood close, watching, not barking now, guarding. Chief Obiora gave quick orders. The driver was handed over to the police immediately. This time, there were cameras, phones, witnesses, no quiet covering, no disappearing files. The girl was taken inside, given water, food, clean clothes. A doctor was called. Chidera sat beside her, holding her hand. "I was where you are," Chidera said gently. "You are safe now." The girl looked up at her. "They kept saying your name," she whispered. "They said you escaped." Chidera closed her eyes. That evening the mansion felt different. Not calm, alert. Guards moved more, phones rang more, voices stayed low. Adara stood on the balcony, looking out at the road. She felt something deep inside her, anger mixed with purpose. She remembered how easy it would have been to ignore the barking dog, how easy it would have been to hurry to work, to mind her own life. She shivered. Chief Obiora joined her. "You could walk away," he said quietly. "You have already done more than enough." Adaora shook her head. "If I walk away now, it means I only helped when it was convenient." Chief Obiora studied her. "You understand the danger," he said. "Yes," Adaora replied, "and I understand the cost of silence." For a long moment he said nothing. Then he nodded. The next day, everything exploded. The story hit the news. Not just one girl, 3 different places, same pattern, the abandoned mud house, the truck, the threats. Names were not mentioned yet, but connections were clear. Phones rang non-stop at Chief Obiora's office. Threats followed, anonymous messages, unknown numbers. "Drop this or you will regret it." Adaora read one message and felt her stomach drop. "They know about you," she said to Chief Obiora. He did not look surprised. "They always go for the listener," he said, "the one who breaks the silence." That night the power went out. The mansion went dark. The dog barked once, then twice, then stopped. Adara's heart slammed. "That's not normal," she whispered. Before anyone could react, the gate alarm rang. Short, sharp. A guard shouted. Someone tried to climb the fence. Shots were fired, not at people, but in the air. Footsteps ran, then silence. The lights flickered back on. They found nothing, but the message was clear. Later that night, Chidera came to Adaora's room. "I need to tell you something," she said, sitting on the edge of the bed. Adaora nodded. "I heard them talk," Chidera continued, "when they thought I was asleep. There is a place, another house." Adaora leaned forward. "Where?" "Outside Port Harcourt," Chidera said, "near the river. That's where they take the girls who don't survive the first days." Adaora felt sick. Chidera looked at her with tired eyes. "They will not stop," she said, "unless someone stops them." Adaora exhaled slowly. "Then we don't stop either," she said. The next morning, Chief Obiora received confirmation. The powerful man, the one funding everything, was preparing to leave the country. Adaora's chest tightened. "He's running," she said. Chief Obiora nodded. "Because he knows." The dog barked suddenly, loud and excited. A guard rushed in. "Sir," he said, breathless, "the police are here, and the media." Outside, cars filled the street. Cameras, questions, truth. Adara stepped back, overwhelmed. This had grown bigger than fear now. It had grown teeth. As the gates opened, Adaora noticed something else. Across the road, under a tree, a man stood watching. No camera, no uniform. Just watching. When their eyes met, he smiled slightly, then turned and walked away. Adaora's stomach dropped. She knew that walk. She had seen it before, near the abandoned mud house. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number appeared. "Listening has consequences." Adaora's hands shook, but she did not drop the phone. She lifted her head and stepped forward. Adaora did not reply to the message. She stared at the words on her phone until the screen dimmed. Listening has consequences. She already knew that. She slipped the phone into her pocket and stepped outside, where cameras flashed and voices collided. The air buzzed with questions, accusations, fear, and something else. Relief. People were finally talking. Reporters crowded the gate. Police officers stood firm, forming a line. Chief Obiora walked out slowly, calm and controlled, the kind of calm that came from choosing a side and refusing to step back. Adaora watched him speak. He did not shout. He did not threaten. He told the truth. He spoke about the abandoned house, about the dog that barked, about the girl who survived because someone listened, about the men who thought fear could keep people quiet forever. Every sentence landed like a stone in water. Chidera stood beside him. Her hand trembled at first, but she held her head high. When the questions came, she answered in clear, steady words. She did not hide her fear. She did not hide her pain. Pain, Adaora realized, was not weakness, it was evidence. Inside the mansion, the rescued girl sat with a nurse, sipping warm tea. Her name was Zainab. She spoke softly, stopping often to breathe, but she spoke. Every word was another crack in a wall that had stood too long. Adaora moved between rooms, checking on people, listening more than speaking. That had become her role, listening, noticing, holding details others missed. The dog stayed close to her heel, not behind, beside. By evening, the mansion was quieter. The cameras left, the police stayed, guards doubled their watch. Adaora finally sat on the steps, exhaustion sinking into her bones. She closed her eyes for a moment, and that was when the call came. A private number. She hesitated, then answered. Yes? Breathing on the other end. Slow, controlled. You should have stayed at work, a man said. Adaora's heart jumped, but her voice stayed steady. Who is this? A soft laugh. Someone who knows what happens to people who refuse to mind their business. Adaora stood up slowly. The dog rose with her, ears alert. You're wrong, she said. This is my business now. Silence. Then the man spoke again, closer somehow, like his voice had leaned in. You think this ends with arrests and cameras, he said. You think noise protects you. Adaora tightened her grip on the phone. No, she said. I think truth does. The line went dead. Adaora exhaled shakily and turned. Chief Obiora was standing behind her. How much did you hear? She asked. Enough, he replied. And I'm sorry. She shook her head. Don't be. I chose this. He studied her face. Then you need to know what comes next. They went inside to his study. Heavy curtains, soft lights, the kind of room where decisions were made quietly and lived with loudly. Chief Obiora spread documents on the table. Maps, photos, phone records. The police traced the funding, he said, not just to one man, to a network. Adaora leaned closer. How many? Enough, he said, and some are protected. Her stomach sank. By who? He met her eyes. By silence. That night, Adaora slept lightly. Every sound woke her, every shadow felt like movement. At 2 a.m., the dog growled. Adaora sat up instantly. Footsteps, soft, careful. She moved to the door and listened. Whispered voices, a guard's sharp command, then running, shouts, a crash near the back fence. By the time Adaora reached the window, the intruders were gone. Left behind, a small package. The guards brought it inside. No name, no return address. Just a message inside, written on plain paper. Stop listening, or you will be next. Adaora's hands shook, but she did not cry. She looked at the dog. It's getting closer, she whispered. The dog did not bark, it stood tall. The next morning, the police arrived with news. The powerful man, the financier, had been stopped at the airport. Not arrested, stopped, delayed, his passport flagged, his name now loud. He was furious and dangerous. He wants a deal, the officer said quietly, silence in exchange for safety. Chief Obiora laughed once, no humor in it. There will be no deal, he said. Adaora felt fear twist in her chest, fear for herself, fear for Chidera, fear for the girls who were still out there. But beneath the fear was something stronger. Resolve. That afternoon, Adaora went back to Umuokoro village. She did not announce it. She walked the dusty road again, past the Akara stand, past the stream, past the place where her life had changed. The abandoned mud house stood sealed, red tape flapping. The dog stopped and sniffed the ground. Adaora knelt beside it. You heard them before we did, she said softly. What else did you hear? The dog moved toward the back, nose low. Adaora followed. Behind the house, the bushes looked normal again. Too normal. Adaora noticed a stone out of place. She pushed it aside. Underneath was a shallow pit. Empty, but not unused. Her breath caught. Someone was here, she whispered. A voice behind her made her jump. Adaora! She turned. Cheeky stood there, hands on hips, face tired. I thought you might come, he said. I needed to see it again, she replied. Cheek nodded. People are scared, but they're also angry. Adaora looked at him. Anger can help. Yes, he agreed, if it doesn't turn blind. They stood in silence for a moment. Then Chike spoke quietly. There are rumors about another place, near the river, old warehouse. Adaora's pulse quickened. The same one Chidera mentioned, she said. Chika nodded. People are afraid to talk. But they're talking to me. Adaora stood up slowly. Then we go there, she said. Cheek frowned. That's not police work. No, Adaora replied. It's listening work. They did not go alone. The police were informed, quietly. By nightfall, a small team moved toward the river. No sirens, no lights. The warehouse loomed dark and heavy against the water. Adaora's heart hammered. The dog pulled gently on the leash, eager, focused. A door creaked open. Inside, the smell hit first. Fear, sweat, old air. Adaora covered her mouth. They moved slowly. Then a sound, a cough, a weak sob. Adaora's chest tightened. There, she whispered. They rushed forward. 3 girls, alive, huddled together. When they saw the dog, one of them cried openly. They said nobody would come, she whispered. They said nobody listens. Adaora knelt. We do, she said. Police rushed in behind them. Orders shouted. Radios crackled. For a moment it felt like victory, like breath after drowning. Then a shout from outside, a gunshot, chaos. Down, someone yelled. Adaora grabbed the nearest girl and pulled her low. The dog barked fiercely, standing between them and the door. Footsteps ran. More shots, then silence. Too sudden. Adaora's ears rang. She looked up slowly. The dog was still standing. But it was bleeding, not badly, but enough. Her heart lurched. No, she whispered. The girls were safe. The suspects were gone. Again, but the message was clear. They would fight back. As the police secured the area, Adaora pressed her hand against the dog's side, feeling warmth under her fingers. You're okay, she whispered. Stay with me. The dog licked her hand weakly. Sirens approached. The night exhaled. But far away, on a quiet road, a car sped up. Inside it, a man clenched his jaw. They're not stopping, he said. The voice on the other end replied calmly, Then we make them. The call ended. Adaora looked up at the dark sky, heart heavy, mind racing. She knew now. This was no longer about one dog, or one house, or one girl. This was about a choice, and the next move would decide everything. Dawn came slowly, not the soft, gentle kind. This dawn arrived heavy, like it knew what the night had carried. Adaora sat on the hospital bench outside the emergency room, her back against the wall, hands folded tightly in her lap. The dog lay beside her, bandage wrapped around its side, chest rising and falling in steady breaths. Alive. That word meant everything. A nurse stepped out and smiled. He's strong, she said. Very strong. Adaora nodded, unable to speak for a moment. She reached down and touched the dog's head. Its tail moved once. Just once. Enough. Across the corridor, Chidera stood with her father. Her face looked tired, but her eyes were clear now, clear in a way they had not been before. You could have died, Chief Obiora said quietly, not angry, just shaken. Chidera shook her head. I almost did. That's why I won't be quiet anymore. Those words stayed with Adaora. I won't be quiet anymore. By mid-morning, the story was everywhere, not whispered, not hidden, spoken. The warehouse by the river, the abandoned mud house, the girls, the dog. People talked in buses, at markets, in offices, in living rooms, on radio shows, on phones. Something had cracked open. The police moved faster now, not because they suddenly became brave, but because eyes were watching. Too many eyes to ignore. The powerful man was arrested before noon. Not delayed, not questioned. Arrested. When the news came, Adaora felt her knees weaken. She sat down slowly, breathing hard. Chidera covered her face and cried. Not loud cries, quiet ones, the kind that come when a weight finally drops. Chief Obiora closed his eyes and whispered, Thank God. But even then, Adaora knew something. Arrest did not mean healing, it meant a beginning. That afternoon, the rescued girls were brought together in a safe room. Clean beds, warm food, soft voices. Adaora sat with them, listening. One talked about fear, another talked about shame. One talked about anger so big it scared her. No one rushed them, no one told them to be strong. They were allowed to be human. When it was Adaora's turn to speak, she hesitated. "I didn't do anything special," she said honestly. "I just listened." One of the girls looked at her. Young, thin, eyes tired beyond her years. "That's special," the girl said. "Nobody listens." Adaora swallowed. She remembered that morning again. The road, the sun, the barking. She remembered how close she came to walking past. 2 days later, Umuokoro village gathered near the abandoned mud house. The red tape was gone. So was the fear. People stood quietly as the village head spoke. "This place," he said, pointing at the cracked walls, "was used for evil. But evil does not own land forever." The house was pulled down that same day. Mud fell, wood broke, dust rose into the air. Adaora watched as the final wall collapsed. The dog sat beside her, calm. When it was over, the space felt lighter, like the ground itself could breathe again. Chief Obiora kept his promise. Adaora officially joined his company as assistant general manager. But she did not start with meetings. She started with people. She listened to cleaners, to drivers, to interns, to security guards. She learned something important. Evil grows fastest where nobody listens. The dog moved into the mansion fully. A vet checked him again. Trainers worked with him. He learned commands, learned patterns, learned how to protect without fear. But some things could not be trained out of him. Every morning, just before sunrise, he walked to the gate and listened. Chidera healed slowly. Some days were good, some days were not. But she spoke. She spoke to counselors, to police, to other girls. One evening, she sat with Adaora on the balcony. "Do you know what scared me the most?" Chidera asked. Adaora shook her head. "Not dying," Chidera said. "Being forgotten." Adaora nodded slowly. "That won't happen," she said. "Not anymore." The trial came. Jidenna faced the court, so did the others. No quiet settlements, no hidden deals. Truth stood in the open. Jidenna cried. His father stood behind him, broken. Chidera watched without, shaking this time. When the judge spoke, the room held its breath. Justice did not roar. It spoke calmly, and that was enough. Weeks later, Adaora returned to the same road she had walked that morning. Same sun, same dust, different world. Children played nearby now, laughter where fear once lived. She stopped where the abandoned house used to stand. Nothing marked it, just open ground. The dog stood beside her. "You changed things," she whispered. The dog wagged its tail. "No," she corrected herself, "you started it." The dog barked once, not angry, not desperate, just present. What is your view about this story? Where are you watching from? If you enjoyed this story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.